Hi everyone, before we begin, I just wanted to mention that about 95% of people watching my videos aren't subscribed, so if you've been enjoying the content, feel free to subscribe below. If you're a coaster nerd like me, you'll definitely enjoy the next part where I'll be recreating the Beast of Kings Island and talking about my time operating the ride before and after its restoration. Anyways, without further ado, enjoy the part. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the biggest possible park in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. So today, I realized we need to restart the entire park. And the reason for this actually has to do with this coaster over here. Now, this ride has an excitement rating of 9.16, which is really good. However, whenever a guest tries to enter the park through we'll call it the southern entrance over here, they will immediately come in, take a left, and then, yeah, like this guy right here, they'll take a left, and then they'll head for that ride and get lost about halfway to it over here somewhere. Now, I've tried cloning that ride over here. It's not open right now, but it has, I think, actually an even higher excitement rating than the other one. And so I figured, why do I even have multiple park entrances anyway, if the guests are just going to come in and get lost? My theory is that it's actually better to build a park out from the corner, and once you reach the other end of the park, you can maybe add entrances, but generally speaking, it should always be better just to have one entrance. In this case, I'm talking strictly in trying to make a functional 999 by 999 park. I'm not sure that that logic is really the same for any other kind of mega park, but that being said, I got some work to do. I think I'll try to transplant as many of the existing rides I have now just to save myself a couple months of building, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Hello everyone, and welcome to the new biggest possible park in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. If I overlay an image of the old park on top of this one, you'll notice that the stage of the park is relatively similar. The reason I got to this point to start recording was that I didn't want to, lose progress and start from a place that was behind the last park. So with this park, I wanted to do a similar chronological thing, where as you go into the park, the rides become more modern. So to start off the park, I've transplanted the Schwarzkopf Looper and the two wooden roller coaster tracks from the other park. And if you're wondering why these attractions are so popular, I do have the guests ignore intensities cheat on. And what's interesting is that it means that even this pirate ship over here has nearly a full queue, which in a sense is more realistic than people just not riding it because it's not intense enough. The reason I say this is that even on normal days, sometimes, yeah, the pirate ship will have a longer line than other rides. And if you've never worked at an amusement park, you might not realize that the low capacity of this ride means that, yeah, the line's going to be longer, even if the attraction is less popular. So that's kind of why I'm leaving the cheat on, is because I think it's more realistic. What is interesting too is that even though, for instance, the track one of Great White, which is a wooden roller coaster, has a throughput of 1500, but the guests still complain that they're queuing for ages, which is just funny to me because it's got a queue time of 14 minutes. And as far as my experience goes, wooden roller coasters never have a throughput maybe above 1200. Most wooden roller coasters don't even operate with 3 trains. So I was just imagining to myself what would happen if you put one of these guests into a real park in the real world. Anyway, moving along here, I have a Aero Hyper Coaster, and I've just called it Hyper Aero 1980 for now. It's just a pretty simple out and back aero coaster. Something cool about this ride though is that it does have 4 trains, and I've designed it in a way to where all the trains are moving constantly. None of them get stopped at any block section. So you'll see there's one on the lift, there's one coming to the station, there's one going to the lift, and this lift will be clear before this block section is occupied, and that goes for all the block sections on the ride. So this train theoretically should dispatch before this one stops here, although the timing sometimes gets held up. But yeah, you can see the trains pretty much never stop moving, so pretty happy with that. That means this ride has a throughput of 2,700 people per hour and a queue time of 5 minutes. So nobody should be complaining about this ride at all. Moving along, we have Fire and Ice, another transplanted design from the old park. It's kind of meant to mimic the Batman and Robin premiere rides launch coasters from Six Flags Great America in the late 90s. Of course, it has the B&M track, so it's not super realistic, and the B&M trains. But I think that's a detail I'm willing to forego because it's a fun ride to sit here and watch. Moving along, we have our classic Aero Looper, also another transplanted design, but have added a new queue and everything, so not quite fully transplanted from the other park. Next door is our Schwarzkopf shuttle loop, and I thought it was pretty cool to have my channel name spelled out here as sort of a backdrop for the park. You can see it quite well from the far out view. I feel like that's something a lot of people used to do in their parks, but I feel like we don't see it as much anymore. Over here we have our SLC, another really popular ride type from the 90s, and a Aero mine train that's not fully completed, but it's getting there. So just to zoom out again, we've looked at this front area and kind of down the middle section. Going over here, we have our sort of early B&M stand-up looper, another transplanted design, but had to fix up the terrain and some scenery objects around it. Moving along, we've got our Aero suspended coaster. This was a design that was present in the last park, but didn't have a name. I've named it Dive Bomb now, and also has had the layout changed quite a lot just to fit the side of this hill. I put a pretty long pre-drop section in here because I wanted it to seem like sort of the Battle of Midway, where you launch from your carrier and you're looking around the seas for your target, and eventually you find it and you dive bomb it. And then the rest of the ride is like, evading the anti-aircraft stuff. So it's a pretty cool little design. We can watch it go around the circuit here. I do wish the suspended coaster had those longer flat to 45 and 45 to flat pieces, because these transitions are pretty abrupt, but it's not too big of a deal. I'm sure it'll probably get added at some point. You're also maybe wondering what these paths are doing. These are not guest paths. These are just paths that go to lockout zones on the roller coasters. I think it's a fun little detail to have. Because it's truly what I think it's a fun little detail to have in the rides, because I feel like a lot of more realistic depictions of roller coasters in this game seem to forget that lockout zones are a thing in real rides. I just think it's a cool little detail to add for the nerds. It goes up to the storage transfer shed here, which was a little bit tricky. Oops. A little bit tricky to fit in the side of this hill, but I think I did a pretty good job, which it's actually more so 2 transfer zones, but I still think it looks pretty cool, pretty realistic. Some aero coasters have some weird transfer accommodations, so I also added a nice little carpentry building back here. You'll see I've got a maintenance guy that's kind of stuck back here with this little truck, and he just walks around. I do also have it so he can walk inside, so sometimes he goes in. But I think a good detail that really helps fill in this park are these little maintenance areas that are often present in the backstage areas of these parks that aren't really seen. And you might be wondering about like the sheet metal kind of messy appearance kind of messy appearance of these structures. And the reason is a lot of parks don't upkeep these buildings because they're not seen by the public. So many of these areas do have kind of bits of structure or old rides or decorations. This stand-up train back here is a reference to one coaster in particular. So if you can guess this train, you'll get an imaginary thumbs up from me. I'll let you know if you're correct in the comments. So it is kind of a reference to stand-up trains that were left somewhere in real life, but you would literally only know this if you're a really big coaster nerd. So if you answer this correctly, know that you'll get an So if you do answer this correctly, just know that not only will you get an imaginary award, but you're also a huge nerd. So there's that. I also did manage to squeeze in a nice little monorail ride in here, which will get expanded as we move into the park more. Moving over, kind of with that chronology, after the early B&Ms came the early dive coasters. So coming into the 2000s, this is another transplanted design, but I had to fix it up a bit because the way coasters are saved with scenery isn't very good. So sometimes you just end up with a bunch of missing scenery. So this one took a while to get correct. Next to that, we have a haunted mansion. This is a reference to RuneScape. Played a lot of RuneScape when I was younger, and there's a place called Draenor Manor, and it's kind of like one of the first more difficult quests you have to do in the game. It's definitely a very, very memorable spot. So let me know if you guys remember your experience with Draenor Manor in RuneScape. Anyway, moving along, we have our Intamin drop tower. I think they're called like Gyro Drop or something. I can't really remember, but definitely another 2000s thing over here. And yeah, moving over here, we have our Din Corporation Monster Woody. Din Corporation built a lot of really giant coasters in, like, I think the 90s. And they all turned out to be disasters eventually. It all became very rough. So this was supposed to mimic their just, like, giant, like, Mean Streak or Texas Giant design. Just very big hills, very big winding turns, kind of meandering, sort of not really doing a whole lot, but looking menacing. And I call it the Giant. Pretty generic, but kind of a hint at the Texas Giant or the other giant Din Corporation Woodies of the time. And yeah, last thing. Oh, I guess I should mention the Gatekeeper ride over here. Of course, called it Gatekeeper. You have to. Goes over the entrance here. It's not meant to be a recreation of Gatekeeper or anything. I just think it's a cool name and color scheme, so I stole it. Sorry, Cedar Point. You can sue me. Actually, please don't. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty basic build here. I think it's pretty majestic in its plot. So, yeah, moving over, we have this big mountain, kind of as a callback to the other mountain that was in the last park. But the last park is kind of had a bunch of rides on top of it. So this time, no pathways. It's just kind of a natural mountain with like a glacier kind of river thing coming off of it, and comes under the entrance. Now, entrances are something I've never done. Same with parking lots. I've never had to do them before. So I'm still kind of poking around, finding a design of a parking lot or of bridges and stuff that I enjoy, that I'm willing to keep. I'm not super happy with this bridge. This one might not last. It's more of sort of a placeholder. But yeah, I do intend on this being the entrance, and then this will be the like entrance to the parking lot. I think I am going to dedicate this corner of the park to maybe some sort of highway or neighborhood or something, city center. We'll see if I can kind of throw something together that I can be happy with. But yeah, that kind of covers the entire park for now. I think similar to last time, I'm gonna divide it up into quadrants. So right now the goal is to build up to this choke point here, build up to this choke point over here, and then we'll move on from there. I think that's just the most effective way to build in a park that's this big. I think the rides, as I'm building out, I'm realizing the rides are pretty packed in close here. So as things get further out, I'm going to start spreading the rides out. Hopefully that doesn't become a problem with the guests, but we'll kind of have to figure that out. That being said, this area of the park is closed off. So I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to do the honor of opening up all these rides live here. So I'm going to actually cut off this so people don't come back here. Trying to see if there's any other troubling parts of the path. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and open up all these areas here. And the reason I'm pausing is that if I open these rides one at a time, everybody's going to run to that ride. So I'm going to try to open all of these rides kind of at once to see what happens. I am going to save my game in case something catastrophic happens, because I've noticed that, yeah, all the guests are going to kind of rush one ride, and it becomes really crowded and a big nightmare. So we're just going to do all of this. We'll even open up this guy. That could be a problem. We'll see. We'll open this up. Did I finish? I think we can open up the train as well. Let's see, let's look at the train over here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're fine. I'm going to disconnect this piece here. Connect that there. I'm going to open up all of these stalls here because people are going to start complaining instantly about needing to use the bathroom. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're good. So, did I connect this path over here? I did. All right, let's watch it unfold here. I'm kind of scared. Let's see where the guests are going to go. I'm worried about this giving me copyright, so I'm going to turn this off. I don't remember if that's an issue or not, but I feel like I remember that, so. Just looking to see if anyone's heading for these rides, and oh yeah, here they come. Oh man, look, this is exactly the problem. Is they all start flooding, and it gets pretty wild. Yeah, this path, by the way, goes underground. I don't know why I did it that way, but I think it looks pretty cool. So we'll see where everybody starts heading here. Some people are just walking, heading for Hurricane. It looks like. Let's see if actions. You know, it hasn't really updated. Maybe if I click on some stuff here. Yeah, headed for Hurricane. Hurricane looks like the one everybody wants to get to, and I'm pretty relieved because it doesn't seem like people are having issues finding it. So that's nice. Oh my gosh, look at all these people. Some people are stopping at the drop tower. That's nice. Dive bomb's got a few people. See through scenery here. See through vegetation now. Yeah, look at all those people. Got any more coming? See, I think I'll speed this up a little bit here. You can see kind of the pattern. Some people are making their way over to Gatekeeper. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you see what I mean? These people really want to ride Hurricane. Which, I don't know what they do when they reach a queue that's full. They seem to just kind of erase their state and go do something else, which is honestly good instead of freaking out here. Even got some people in the haunted house. Let's see. Dive bomb. What's the throughput? 1800? I would ideally make the queue longer. That way people can actually get in line for it and like extend it down. But as we've seen with these other rides, it's not really a solution. Although now that I've had the experience with the last park, I feel like people just existing in a queue line is better, even if they end up leaving because they waited for too long, is better than somebody getting lost. So it's better they're just like locked in one state for a period of time. So, all right. Well, this isn't a complete disaster. I had a really weird time with some of these rides over here, and things getting too crowded. So, now we're up to 2,500 people an hour. Very nice. Oh man, Gatekeeper is completely full. How many people is this? It doesn't tell you how many people are in line. Guess I could just look in this menu. Yeah, queuing for Gatekeeper 100. Mine Train Coaster. Or wait, no, they're on the ride. Never mind. I was like, that's a lot of people queuing. But it makes sense because it has like 5 trains. Everybody seems to be enjoying themselves. Just trying to see if anybody's having any like restroom issues, which I should probably put one. I put one over here, but I feel like you could never have too many. This is a cool little spot where you can watch Dive Bomb. I like it. I think we'll slow things back down here. But yeah, it's crazy to think that a park this size, maybe I'm just not used to it, but 3,000 people contained in this park is quite a lot. So I think this is the most guests I've had versus the last park. Maybe only had like 2,700 at the most, if I remember correctly. But it is definitely proving my theory that one wide paths are, I guess not my theory, but definitely proving the theory that, or not theory, but the fact. I'm sorry, I'm just trying not to take credit because I've had some ideas or conversations in the open roller coaster tycoon 2 Discord about like paths and stuff. So shout out to those guys. It's always fun to spitball your ideas in chats like that. I was also thinking to myself, how cool it would be to have a real life dive coaster with a twisting drop. If you've ever ridden a B&M with a twisting drop, like Banshee in the back, man, it's a crazy experience. So that'd be cool. But yeah, I don't think I'm seeing any issues. Yeah, down here is kind of the major testing point. Let's see if people are. Yeah, I can't find. And where are they? Oh, they're in line for it. Look at that. See, yeah, this guy's. They're making their way. That's the main thing we want to avoid is I can't find turning into I'm lost. So follow this person, see if they speed it up a little bit. Yeah, see, now they're just walking. That's a little concerning. Oh, well, I guess they found it after all. So we'll see if there's any problem areas here. You can start to see the queue lines of other rides emptying out because everybody's probably riding these new ones. So I don't know why, but I love just watching the roller coasters operate in this game. I could do it forever. It's very relaxing to me. It's very satisfying when you put all the work into making a nice looking design and it's working as intended. It's just like, ah. Plus, whoever made these, I don't know if there's credit in here for these B&M trains, but these look really nice too. So, yeah, look at these guys. Look how much fun they're all having. Yippee. see what the throughput is for this ride. 1700, 1776. That's a good number. I like that number. Yeah, 3D cinema's doing all right. See how people are doing down here. Anything, I should put this entrance probably down here. But people do seem to like this ride. I should call it like the Din Giant. Yeah, so that guy. I think what I'll edit this queue real quick just to put it. Let's see, it's this one, right? Yeah. Nope, that's not the right queue line. It's, oh, I guess it's just the blue one with the different handrails, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna just quickly, everyone don't freak out, I promise, I'm just editing the line. There we go. Because it does seem people reach that, like, that I can't find moment, like, over here, so better just have it like that. Check out Dive Bomb. Favorite ride of 8 guests. That's right. Very cool, very cool. Definitely still seems like Hurricane is the favorite. Let's see. I feel very sick. Yeah, I should probably place more benches down, shouldn't I? I need to go to the bathroom. See, every time I click on somebody, it needs to go to the bathroom. Yeah, so I should probably just plop one down. Just like right there. Kind of knew that was coming. Oh man, there's a lot of people over here. Must be a group of people getting off of the mine train. Wonder how the train is going. It's going. There's a lot of people. I definitely should have put more trains on it, I think. Why is it? Oh, it probably goes uphill in there. I was like, why is it coming out this tunnel so slow? And I realized, yeah, there's a slope in there. All right, well, success, I guess. That I was really worried that this would be the death of this park because some of these rides are pretty far out here, but this gives me hope that the rest of this quadrant will go swimmingly. Okay, everyone, we're coming up on 30 minutes, so I think I'll call this part here. Once again, please stay tuned, as next part I'll be building the Beast from Kings Island and detailing my ride operator adventures with that ride. That being said, happy holidays!